All right, nerds, here we are with Carlos Alazraqui. You guys, you see the background, you see all the characters he's done. I guarantee you've heard this man's voice in your life at some point, whether it be from Reno 911 all the way down to the OG Spyro. A lot of people don't realize that he did the OG Spyro as well. Carlos, thank you for doing this for us.
Thank you, and thank you for bringing up the OG Spyro. You know, I know Tom Kenny's going to SAC Anime, and you got to go see Tom. Yep. Because he's obviously Spyro in 3 of the games, and Elijah Wood and Jess Ardell, and just, I mean, great company. But it's always cool when people come up and know that, yeah, watch out for Nasty Nork. Nasty Nork is toast. You know, that I got to start the whole franchise, as it were. And I was really reminded of that a couple of years ago. Like, why don't you have any Spyro pictures? And then as soon as that happened, people would come up with their old PS1 game or P1, Sony PlayStation games, and they have a lot of reverence for it. And I wasn't understanding how much it meant to people. And I tell the story, I've told it several times, where Dee Baker was amazing, Brett Tatasciore, amazing. Friends of mine, we work all the time at Salami Studios, lamenting that I stink at video games. I said, I only know how to play 2 games, Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2.
Hey, those are tough, though. It's shocking that you're good at those games and then not good at other ones, because
it's good. But Fred says, you know, I'm Boomer. And I'm like, what? And Dee goes, yeah, I'm the spitter and I'm the Joker. And I'm like, oh my God. I fanboyed out. You know, I fanboyed out because I spent hundreds of hours on that game trying to get out of each of the levels on normal. Yeah. And succeeding maybe on the rock and roll concert one. I know that. And the Plantation. To fanboy out, to know that these people were such a part of my life with this game. Now I understand how much it means when people say, you know, you're Spyro and I spent a long time with you. So it's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. So tell me how this whole thing got started. A lot of people start with theater. A lot of people start with radio or something like that. How'd you get your start?
You know, I always go back to the origin. My parents being from Argentina, my dad being British educated in Argentina, no accent. My mom, Carlitos, you have to stop doing that with her accent still at 95. And then my British parents, Kevin, John and Mary were from Glasgow, Scotland. So 3-4 days a week, when I'm not at home getting Carlitos, no me digas, I'm getting Kevin, Carlos. You need to go out and say, get away from the television. So I think that's the origin, right? But in 1990, I was in Sacramento, California. I had left to be living in San Francisco, working at Laughs Unlimited. There was a project, Rocko's Modernlife. My manager, Tracy Forrester, back then knew this guy, Mark McNamara at SF State, producing a little short by Joe Murray. It's called Rocko's Modernlife. Make a tape. Push play. Push record. Play. Made a tape, cassette, sent it off, got an audition, showed up, no agent. And again, this is a story that's told many times, but just what they wanted me to not do Australian, you know. We went like a Bruno Kirby. No hablo inglés. Que bachi de tutti bachi. You know how big this is. I can be funny too. All right? Mr. Cronin, I can be funny. I got Frenchie. He's a character. And then they wanted a Woody Allen and tried that. And I think I famously say that I stayed in the room after getting spunky. Nick Jennings literally jumped forward when and I go, great, I'm spunky. And then I picked up a vacuum manual. I just saw this snout and these little teeth. And I just like, when you're cleaning your unit, make sure it is not plugged in. Otherwise, you risk electrocution. And they're like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. Let's kind of go with that. And we went with it. They sent it to Nickelodeon. They said, yeah, let's make a pilot. We made a pilot 1991 at Poolside Studios behind the Mel's on Lombard Street, the straight part, Lombard and Steiner. And then I got a call. I was on the road in Seattle, I think in 1992, late 19, October 92, that said, hey, they're going to go to series. And so that is what launched me into this voiceover world. And I famously tell the story of Tom Kenny and I looking at Charlie Adler on the first day with all the suits, just like, oh, yeah. What the hell? Tom and I were just like, oh my God, we are in over our heads. We were comics trying to be voiceover actors, but this is the quintessential pro, Charlie Adler. And so learning trial by fire, right? Mr. Lawrence was and Linda Wallum, who was a producer, and she was playing Doc Hutchinson. So it was trial by fire, and Joe was very meticulous. And first season, I was flying back and forth, and Jim Lieber would pick me up in his Honda Civic from the Oakland airport to the Burbank airport, and I would fly in, do a session, fly back home, and then in January 94, I actually moved to LA and just started picking up more voiceover stuff, Cat Dog. And so Rocko was really just everything that just launched everything else.
Well, it ended up being iconic. Like you said, Charlie Adler's in it. Oh my gosh, everyone's going to kill me for this. But the guy who does SpongeBob's voice, I can never remember his name.
Tom Kenny.
Tom Kenny, yes. But he does Heifer, and then like Charlie Adler goes on to do Cartoon Network almost exclusively, right?
Hanna-Barbera, Cow and Chicken, Cartoon Network.
Exactly.
Everything.
So you were in the room with these heavy hitters. Did you know back then that basically you guys were going to be the future of voice acting, basically?
No. Yeah, no idea. I'm just welcome to be a part of, because at the same time you have Animaniacs, I believe, right around that same time with Tress MacNeille and Jess and Rob Paulson and Mo. Mo's a good friend now. I see him quite a bit at the gym, but you had those legends going. You had Jim Cummings going. You had Billy West going. You had early Tara Strong going, Great Delisle going. Just many great voiceover. June Foray still going, So happy to be a part of, but no idea where it's going, and hoping that it does keep going. Because right after that was Spyro the Dragon, working with Clancy Brown. We'll talk about that more. Then Cat Dog with Jim Cummings and Billy West and Dwight Schultz from the A-Team, who's magnificent, and Maria Bamford, who was a receptionist at Nickelodeon. Jeez.
All the pretty good at voices too.
So yeah, we were all just on this ship enjoying the ride, but not, as you had said, we weren't sure that it was going to be the next big iconic movement in animation. We knew that Chris Falusi and Billy West were doing some great work on Ren and Stimpy, and also with Doug and with Hey Arnold and the Wild Thornberries. What am I forgetting? The Rugrats.
All that's, yep.
Trust me, I mean, Cree Summer and E.G. Daily. Legends. So we're just happy to be a part.
I feel that. I saw, if you kind of scroll through your IMDb, which a lot of people have done, I noticed you kind of jumped in on a bunch of key series, but one thing I noticed was you were able to, what a lot of voice actors like to do or get work doing is copying a voice. And I saw that you got Mike Wazowski for a few things like the original Monsters, Inc. game, and then a few pop-up games for that. What kind of process do you go through to emulate a voice? Because you had to emulate the great Billy Crystal.
Yeah, I'm talking about that with Mick Winger at a party for Firebuds, and because Mick Winger is Jack Black, right? In the series, yeah. And Mick is fantastic. We just talked about it. It was, I did a ton of games, and the original Monster Laugh Floor at Disney World, and I went to go see myself in 2018. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. So this guy Brian Monroe says there's an audition for Billy Crystal for Sound Alike stuff. They're offering writer first refusal, obviously, like Jim Hanks is doing Tom Hanks' voice for all the Woody dolls. And so yeah, I go, Billy Crystal, I don't think so. He's like, yeah, dude, your voice is right there. You're like a low tenor and you're high tenor or whatever. You're right in the same range. I don't think so. So I got the movie Forget About Paris. I had a television set with a VHS built into the TV, popped it in, and I just kept rewinding, fast forward, rewinding. And it was just watching the way his mouth moves. It was not learning Mike Wazowski. It was learning Billy Crystal first. Because what are his face movements? Because as I told you at the beginning, the way for me to learn the Glaswegian accent was to look at one specific person, which was John. And John's upper lip never moved. It was like this. And he's very staring intently. And that's the way he formed his words. So the same thing with Billy Crystal. He's just kind of got a relaxed thing about it. He's got the Bronx tease. We've got to get out of this place, And I just learned it that way. And I came in an audition. And it says, okay, you're in the range of Billy, but Mike was a little higher unless he drops down, right? It's like, sorry, we gotta get out of here. Are you kidding me? Roz, you're looking good today. That part is closer to the...
So on point.
You go, and when I went to the Monster Laugh Floor, I went, yeah, some things are good and some things are off. And some sessions, even now, 20 years later, some sessions, like for Monsters at Work, I'll lay down some scratch and I'll do some new games. I'll be on and I'll be a little off because he's created such a wonderful palette for you. He's creating the palette of this wonderful character with all kinds of subtleties. And your job is to try to make people believe it's him. So the process is you want to honor all the subtleties and make sure you're not getting too muppety. And you have great directors, Brian Hoppy, Dana, I forget Dana's last name, but many great directors that will get you there. They'll go, you know what? You'll off, let's listen to the reference again. And the thing that I would use, the placeholder for me was a line from the movie. I know we don't have to tell me everything, your life story in the first date, but can you get a hit occasional highlight or two? Like you got blah, blah, blah. You got 4 brothers with bad ears. And oh yeah, you're married. And so you're married is something that there's probably like 900 drops of, you're married. Because that got me where Billy is for Mike. So you're married gets me right into, you gotta be kidding me, Sully. We gotta get out of here. So it gets me right there. That was the placeholder I used. So yeah, using placeholders, honoring subtlety, really listening to reference, and being picky. Because, a lot of jobs you just want to get through because they're kind of tedious, right? When your left hand is blue, means go. When the right hand is on green, it means stop. And he's like, I'm so tired. I just want to get through this job. But then you have to step back and go, well, yeah, you're tired, but you do want to do this. So let's make sure you got it right, even though you've said it 10 times. And so, yeah, it's all those things. It's discipline. It's having an ear, trusting in a casting director who tells you you're there, and really practicing.
Good deal.
So
it's just cool watching you process it because I'm a little like you're taking us back to it and you're just working it out. It's just awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell me what the transition was like, because you started in voice acting. Talk about the transition to live action, because I saw you have a couple of parts, but then Reno 911 was like your big main part, right?
Yeah, it was a big main part. 2000. And I had done the Stephanie Miller show on UPN as opposed to the radio show I do now. James Stevens III, myself, Kara Mariyama were the regulars. We did all kinds of sketches. I played everything from Johnny Carson to Charles Manson.
Wow.
To Dick Brady, Dick Van Dyke on the Dick Van Dyke show, to Kato Kalin, who I know personally now from the gym.
Nice.
I played Kato in all the trial stuff we did. And Barry Sheck, I played a ton of characters on like him. And then in 95, that ended. I did Stephanie Miller. We'll get back to the Taco Bell Dog was 97, 2000, which allowed me to stay in town for an audition for Ben, Tom, and Carrie, who I had not seen before. I had never seen the state, which was good because I would have been intimidated. I would have known how brilliant they were and been way too nervous. So they were nice. I went in, I did my stuff for what was to be a sketch show, and I did a bunch of characters. I did Tony Montana as a birthday clown, which I ended up doing for a commercial for Spike Lee. How you like that? Birthday clown. A little toy for you. And by the way, if you folks are interested in probably one of the best Al Pacino impressions, it's Kevin Pollak interviewing Titus Welliver as Al Pacino from young to old. And Titus Welliver, the actor from Bosch, from many, many things, it is incredible. He just embodies Al Pacino.
Because, thank you, Kevin. It's a pleasure to be here. It was doing Panic in the Park, and Francis Coppola. Mr. Coppola noticed me and asked me to be a part.
And you're mesmerized. See, I'm copying him now. I gotta be this good. But so in any case, yeah, I do these 3 sketch characters. That Woody Allen, I think. What did I do? Woody Allen. I did Woody Allen, but I forgot what it was for. Maybe like Sunyi or something. And then I did this chamois guy, Michael, the miracle chamois. Look at this, takes the stain out. You're gonna wait 15 days. No, you're not. And that, and they like it. We go to studio, we go to network. I get hired. Cedric Yarborough's there. Wendy McClendon-Covey comes later. Amy Bressette plays my daughter on the original pilot. So Cedric, Nisi, and Carrie, we're the original 7 before Mary Birdsong as well. It was brilliant. And we go to Table Read for Gail Berman at Fox. We do the Table Read. We're doing all these sketches. One was what's the show, QVC, where you buy stuff at auction? Mm-hmm. What's that show called?
Not Antique Roadhouse, right?
Something like that. But Niecy Nash is doing a slave auction thing where she's a slave being sold on the show, and how much is she worth? And it's highly these days, no way. This was 2001, right? And so we do our sketches, and they didn't want them. They pass on it, and we've got a week left. And Ben, Tom, and Carrie say, since we want to be sold to Fox, we're going to make fun of cops. The show is called Reno 911. Literally, you all go home and think about your characters. We're going to come back Monday with Beth McCarthy from SNL. We've written out some sketches, and we're going to just rehearse inside a warehouse. And that's what we did. And my first rehearsal with Beth was with Cedric Yarborough, and it's the mime out in front of the check cashing place. Well, excuse me, sir. No, I just knew a little bit about my character. And then we like it. We go on set. The first day on set, they ask us 20 questions, which we have not been privy to. What do you like about being on the force? What do you hate about being on the force? What's cop mean to you? Who do you love on the force? Who do you hate on the force? What's your favorite donut? All these things. And just kind of, and again, this will be inappropriate. Our first drive around is with Cedric. They put the cameras on in the trunk, the dash cams. They turn it on. They say, okay, take off. We take off. Usher's playing on the radio. And I turn to him and I go, we're going to have to listen to this jungle music. He didn't know what to say, but you could just, it was born. That relationship was born. So I got to work with this self-loathing Latino racist and not beat him up or kick the crap out of him and still do my job. And that relationship was born just kind of off an improv. And they passed after the San Pedro filming of the festival. And then 2 years later, Jim Sharp is at Comedy Central. What do you got, Ben, Tom, and Carrie? We have this thing called Reno 911. Let's take a look at it. We like it. We're going to buy it. We're going to reshoot it scene for scene. So we reshot the pilot scene for scene, and Comedy Central bought it in 2003. So that is the long-winded version of how I transitioned back into on camera after being off the Stephanie Miller Show. So it was from 95 to 2000. I might have guessed it on Men Behaving Badly or a couple of other small guest parts, but that was the one that just took it to the next level.
It's incredible. I gotta say, Garcia is my favorite character on that show.
Thanks.
Because of the subtle, like, there's blatant racism, and then there's like the funny, like subtle racism that like the lifestyle racism that I find hilarious. And you rode that line so perfectly, and the writers had it so right. And then the way you came across, it was mint. Yeah. I loved it.
Even with Good Cop, Black Cop, which he doesn't think he's saying anything wrong. We do a thing called Good Cop, Black Cop. I'm going to go in there and soften him up. And then that, not in Good Cop, Black Cop. It's Good Cop, Bad Cop. Black Cop, Bad Cop, same thing. Doesn't matter.
Sure.
He's like, he doesn't know he's wrong. And then, of course, we show up with the Klansman, and they know my name. Hey, Jimmy Jam. Hey, Gary. What's
Exactly.
Like, what is cool? And then when I make up for Cedric after he punches me for telling a Polish joke, as it were, and I give him fried chicken and malt liquor because I think, it's just, it's so sad. You have no idea what you're doing. So yeah, it was fun. It was fun to embody this guy, and maybe we keep getting to do it. It's a Wonderful Heist, and obviously the new cast with Joe Latrulio and Ian Roberts, they're brilliant too, and Mary Birdsong coming along way back when in season 3, I think season 3 or 4. But they're all just amazing. So I've been pretty lucky just to swim with dolphins, as I call it.
There you go. And then I saw you, your guys' 2018 movie won an award. Tell me about that and what that meant for you guys.
Yeah, we won an award for that movie, or nominated for an award. We did not end up winning, and then we just did It's a Wonderful Heist with Brian Moynihan. He was fantastic, and many others. And yeah, it's just the life that it's had, that it's given me, because I was let go like Wendy and Mary on the show in 2009. I've always been diplomatic about what happened. It's just what happened. It wasn't my choice. I was never, there was definitely some pain and hurt, but I was never publicly, and rightfully so. It was just a decision they made, and it paid off. The way I handled it was to just try to keep working in it, and I think the guys respected that, and they brought us back on, and so that was a really cool thing. They didn't have to, So I've enjoyed coming back on and being Garcia again, and it's ironic because I probably had more of my prominent role in this latest film, but I got COVID halfway through, and so I got to miss I only got to do the first part of filming, but still a wonderful movie, a wonderful time, and yeah, when I think back at 2000, I met these guys in 2000, Christmas of 2000, and knowing them for all these years and how kind of generous they were, because they had the cast of The State. They had the cast of Viva Variety that they could have used, but they just brought on new people and trusted us. So that was pretty amazing to have that level of trust for new people. And now they're back on tour doing live state shows.
And just took off and run with it. It was so good. So good.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Fairly Odd Parents. Just a little bit. Yeah. Just a little bit.
No.
So, if you guys didn't know, this man has done an amazing job with Denzel Crocker like bringing that man to life, and like it's got to be difficult doing all the weird little noises and just hitting the pitches right without like maxing out your microphone.
Oh, yeah. I definitely would blow out my voice. And again, when I say I wanted to imitate Titus Welliver and do the Al Pacino, I definitely, because people will notice sounds in that voice. Many times it's, are you doing Montgomery Burns? And I said, yeah, that's kind of intentional. I'm borrowing from the best. I've said it again many times. Montgomery Burns, Richard Dreyfuss, and Gene Wilder all mixed up in one character. So you have Montgomery Burns going, all in good time, Smithers, all in good time. Pitch that up a little bit, all in good time, Smithers. And you add a little Richard Dreyfuss, I know we want to be turns. And then you add, set again, hey! And it becomes Crocker. So it's stealing from the best to create an original character.
So we know about that character. Who else were you in Fairly Odd Parents? I know you had a few.
Isimo, I love you, Wanda. Why don't you leave that little punch gun for me, Wanda? He says, and Dinkelberg. Hey, neighbor. And the mayor. The mayor's a little bit higher than Dinkelberg. Basically imitating Butch Hartman. And then Chompy. Chompy's gone. And I was Billy Crystal Ball, actually, before I actually learned how to do Billy Crystal. It was before all the sound like that. Billy Crystal Ball. It was probably about right here, right way off, right? I didn't know what I was doing back then.
I didn't even catch that one. But now hearing that, I'm like, dude.
On the course, dance on, mother needs a bath. Man, run the bed, butter yourself, you bed.
Yes. How did that come about? How did you learn that?
Gosh, I was doing Billy Crystal Ball, and I was kind of a manic energy. And again, the generosity of Butch he knew me from Family Guy, because Butch was friends with Seth MacFarlane. They worked at Hanna-Barbera together. Butch was the original Mr. Weed, and then they said, we need a Latino to do Mr. Weed. So I replaced Butch. We met that way. He thought of me, I suppose. I came into Billy Crystal Ball, and then they just had an idea for this new school teacher character, and he wanted me to try something. I guess he saw the craziness in me, and I think he kind of pushed me to that sinister point. And I said, I have some ideas, and we kind of looked hunched over with an eye. And I know innately Burns was feeding into me. It's that same kind of, so it defend it. And he gets me to the crazy. He gets me to the 11 and just says, go, I want you to go there. What's the cracking. He loves girlfriend. Just so Butch was responsible for bringing me on board to that level and really loving the character. I was very lucky because you have March by Rob Paulson and Man originally by Adam West, and then the great incomparable Jeff Bennett, who was just amazing, and Kevin Michael Richardson and Eric Bauza and Tara Strong and Suzanne Blakesley, just working and Kari Walgren coming on later, and just watching this cast work. I'm sitting in a symphony of jazz musicians just doing their stuff, just marveling about how lucky I am to be, again, swimming with dolphins. These guys are great. And yeah, I'm one of them. It's good. I'm proud. But I learned from them, for sure. I learned from all of them.
Absolutely. So the one thing I've noticed that you haven't done, you've done video games, movies, TV, shorts, everything. I haven't seen you do an anime.
I was just talking to a couple of anime actors, like the original cast of Dragon Ball Z. They had since been replaced. The OGs. We were at the West Palm Beach con, and from a lot of them from Texas. Back then.
Oh, I talked to a ton of them. Stephanie Nadolny. Did you meet her?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Love her.
Very nice. It wasn't worth it. It's $300. There's no thing. It's a buyout crap. Nah, I'm not interested. Okay. Cut to all these years later when my daughter turns me on to Demon Slayer. Level 5. I have to find the thread. Keep calm. Keep breathing. I'm not feeling everybody. I'm going to fight you. Inosuke, calm down. I'm not going to calm down. And these guys are tearing their throats apart.
Yeah.
But finally, my friend Neo Kaplan Naruto, finally, Miley from Naruto, finally all these people are getting their due at the cons. They have the long lines. They're making that money on the weekend now because they were sort of unfairly treated in the beginning. And so that's why I would love to do anime. I know Richard Horowitz is directing. It's a dirty one. It's on YouTube, and I met the creator.
I'm not sure.
It's about a maid. It's something the maid, and Richard Horowitz is directing, but it's anime style. But I would love to be part of My Hero Academia, which my daughter loves. Is it Kaiser Jiu-Jitsu? Is that what it's called? Jujutsu Kaisen?
Jujutsu Kaisen, yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen, she loves that. I would love to be part of a new Demon Slayer because I fell in love with it, you know? As a kid, I watched Kim of the White Lion. I watched Speed Racer. And of course, I checked this, and Studio Ghibli is also anime, you know? Dakota Fanning and her sister in My Neighbor Totoro, and of course, Jason Marsden in Jason Marsden, right?
Was it Jason or James?
In Neverending Story, you know? Not in Neverending Story. Gosh, the one where the parents turn into pigs. Why am I...
Oh, geez.
Why he's playing a dragon? Why can't I guess this right? Howl's Moving Castle.
Howl's Moving Castle. Yeah.
No, Howl's Moving Castle is another one.
Oh my gosh!
Spirited Away. Howl's Moving Castle. Billy Crystal played Calcifer.
Yep.
And I replaced the screams of Calcifer in that movie because he was doing Broadway and his voice was wrecked. So it would all be that's me, but the rest is Billy Crystal.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that.
In Ponyo, I played Brad Pitt, not Brad Pitt, but Matt Damon's assistant. Like, I don't know if your wife's gonna like that, sir. You better turn off that thing from the lighthouse. So I didn't. I did get inside, but Mark Hamill in Laputa, or the boy fell from the sky, all that stuff. But I would love to be a part of anime. Anybody, anime people, directors out there, or creators, I would love to be a part of that world for sure.
Give him a call, guys. Give him a call. What's one besides anime? Obviously, what's something you maybe missed out on doing, but while doing something else, or maybe a role that you would have liked to grab onto back in the day?
You know, there was an Entourage audition that I missed to play a hairdresser on Entourage, a role that I would like to do one day. I love goofy villains, and there's a movie called I Downloaded a Ghost that you can get for Christmas on Disney Family, still available to rent, with Ellen Page, who's now Elliot Page, and she was 14 from Nova Scotia. I played her ghost. I was the lead actor. I did about a bunch of impressions. Vince Carrazza, Sheldon Bergstrom, he just passed away. Lovely actor. They played the villains. And I always loved that Home Alone type of villain. So years ago, Jorge Gutierrez created a character that was, she was in a boarding school with an Argentinian headmaster.
Okay.
But I would love to be able to do what Brian Stepanek does on Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Dawn. You know, that dad or that goofy villain, like, I'm going to get those kids. Drag you, Chris Tallman and the Thundermans.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I love that stuff. Yeah, you're not Anthony Hopkins and doing that, but it's just fun to be those crazy villains or the bad guy. I can get those kids for a day. And when I do, it will be the end of the family.
I feel like we missed you on Spy Kids.
You know, I would love to, I think George Lopez on Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Mm-hmm. He was great as the school teacher, but turned villain inside a little. So things like that. I would love to be in a movie, The Blue Beetle, things like that.
Yeah.
Playing a villain or whatever. Dark comedies, which is what we shot in. Witness Infection is one of those comedies, an homage to Shaun of the Dead. Gotcha. And Dale of Tucker versus Evil, I think that's...
Tucker and Dale.
So Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Yeah, so those kinds of movies I'd love to do. I got to meet, oh my gosh, what's her name? She's on Villains of Valley View and the original Office. Oh, Lucy Davis. I got to meet her.
Oh, wow, okay.
So if I could do a Ricky Gervais type show as well, Afterlife, something like that, extras.
Upload. Have you seen Upload?
I haven't seen Upload yet.
Upload's a good one. If you haven't watched Upload, Amazon Prime, it's great. Great.
He's wonderful. So there's all kinds of things I would love to do, But I got to play a mob boss I got to play Rob Belushi's dad with that kind of fake New York, Brooklyn thing. Let me tell you something, son. You don't do this now, they're going to take care of you. That was fun. It was a blast, right? Into character.
It feels like you had an inclination towards Hispanic characters.
Yeah. And that really didn't happen till Taco Bell, right?
Yep. I was talking about Taco.
I did comedy compadres and things like that. My parents are from Argentina. Yep. And after Taco Bell, it was getting in as the Spanish characters, Even in Osmosis Jones, right? I saw him, he's over there. That little character from Osmosis Jones was Latino. Yep. And then, working on Puss in Boots with the great Eric Bauza, playing Mayor Temeroso and Guardondo Guardondo was in Dragon's Rescue Rider. So I played Guardondo, the Spanish lover, and I also played Hutzkalor, the chief in Hutzkalor. Yep. Well, then his name was
Ricochet too.
No, and Ricochet, yeah, that was a fun show. And James Marsden came to replace me, and I wanted to make this public. Like, it was totally okay with me that it replaced me in case anybody had any idea that it was underneath or under, because he was worried. He found out I was the voice, and he didn't know. And I said, no, I got fired from the job. I had you had nothing to do with that. So of course, if they asked you to do it, you do it. So we're all cool with that. But yeah, Ricochet was great. Family, honor, tradition, donuts, pulverizing pinball. Eddie Morton, Lily Chin, of course, the great Kimberly Brooks and Fernando Milo, Maya and Miguel, now the Casagrandes. Yeah, I'm very lucky to be doing that and using my dialects when I can, working with Lalo Alcaraz and working with these people at DreamWorks to make sure my pronunciation is great and not Cache and Pocho like Argentina, like I'm used to hearing. So yeah, and Jorge Gutierrez working on Maya and the Three, working on El Tigre, working on the Book of Life. Maria, what have you done, boy? What have you done? You pick yourself in policy one. Jorge is great. I owe a lot to Jorge and Sandra, who really, since Pepe the Bull, I came on the original pilot, was replaced by Mario Lopez. And then Hattie Manny with Rick Gittleson, I think it was Rick, that last name. I'm a fancy screwdriver, Manny. I was really able to use all these voices as a kid. And the Grandpapi in El Tigre, Manny Rivera, was based on a woman named Raquel that lived next door to me as a kid. And she was a smoker. And she would go, Jenny, you got to come home. And I'm just like, I fell in love with that voice. Yeah. So years later, like the Scottish voice, so I have the original references that I had, I was able to pull from and just line into different characters. So
to wrap it up, aspiring voice actors or any actors in general, because you've done it all, literally done it all. What would you tell them to get to inspire them, and what kind of obstacles did you face going through that you would help them out with?
I think it's just a general life lesson, right? It's just to stick with it and be persistent, because you're going to have ups and downs. And the journey of voice acting, while it's full of joy, it's full of hard days, bad days, frustration, many auditions, stacks and stacks of paper, 3 feet high, where you're not going to get the job. You're going to get a callback that you think you're perfect for, and you did the callback exactly the way they wanted it. And you get somebody else, they pick somebody else, they'll go a different direction. So it is weathering the storm. It's staying in there and enjoying the brilliance of the people that you work with. You're going to get replaced. You're going to get fired. You're going to get a job you never even thought you would get or didn't think you deserved. Like, yo quiero Taco Bell. Anybody could have done that. I just, right place, right voice, right time. And it was the right texture. Yeah, I'm talented and I brought what I brought to it, but yo quiero Taco Bell is just one of those things. So I tell people, while I don't have the career of Chris Rock or Adam Sandler, voiceover provides an opportunity, whether it's anime, video games, or what I'm doing Saturday morning, sometimes prime time, for you to succeed. But it's just YouTube, TikTok, make your own stuff, because you guys are brilliant. The young guys out there, young men and women out there are so good. So keep doing that stuff. Jim Meskimen is a guy to follow. He's constantly doing stuff. But yeah, do your stuff. Be ready for the long haul and stay in it. Was it Valvano? Never give up, never give up. Just keep going.
Carlos, thank you so much. So much. I'm going to cry after I get off here. But thank you so much again. Thank you so much for bringing these characters to life for us. And thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thank you. Check my Instagram for my schedule. September 7th through 10 or 8th through 10, 7th through 10, 8th through 10. Colossal Con in Poconos, Pennsylvania. End of October, Bloomington, Illinois for Toy West Con. But it's in Bloomington, Illinois, the last day of September, first day of October, I believe.
And I'll probably send you some information about stuff around here if we can get you booked around here as well.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Guys, subscribe. You guys can watch all this and many more interviews right here on Podcasting While Nerdy. Thank you so much for being here again, Carlos, and goodbye.